Okay, Ted Cruz just went in this unique CNN town hall event. Town hall in quotes.
This is not a town
It's
hall.
not a town hall. They're just interviewing them back to back. The only one that won't be in studio is Bernie Sanders, we hear. But nonetheless, I want to give credit to CNN, which I don't often do, and to Wolf Blitzer, which I almost never do. Good, tough questioning of Cruz on the issue of Israel and on Frank Gaffney. Throughout, but those two really stood out. Cruz is like, no, we can't be, neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. And so the essence of Blitzer's questions was then, well, then how are you going to be a fair moderator of the negotiations? So does that mean that you don't want to negotiate on peace? Well, I mean, we will. And okay, then what could the Palestinians possibly do to get you to be, to even have a conversation about peace? Well, they'd have to give us everything we want, this, and this. I think it partly exposed them for, like, he even hesitated on, do I want to have peace negotiations? So if anybody's really paying attention, they get a sense he don't want peace negotiations. And Blitzer did a good job of exposing that. He ran all these quotes about this national security advisor that Cruz has, Frank Gaffney. If you haven't heard of him, he's a lunatic. And Blitzer ran a bunch of his quotes. He actually didn't get to some of the crazier ones, like Gaffney thinks one of the top advisors to Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, married to Anthony Weiner, by the way, of all people, is a Muslim Brotherhood spy who wants to help take over the U.S. government. Totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And Cruz is like, I'm not going to play the gotcha game, but I think he's brilliant. Great. All right. At least you're on the record of saying Frank Gaffney's brilliant when a guy's borderline lunatic. I mean, there's some argument to be made that he should be put in a mental hospital. That's how fucking crazy Frank Gaffney is. So, Blitzer, here. That's overall.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, interesting. Okay, go.
I like that Blitzer, asked tough questions on the questions that he asked, but there are some really simple questions that nobody asked Ted Cruz. Number one, you are a champion of the Constitution, yet you are telling Republicans to blatantly ignore the Constitution. Not saying that Obama's nominee should be put through, but he's telling Republicans, no, it's okay. This is unprecedented in the last year. That the Constitution says the president shall nominate a Supreme Court justice, the Senate shall vote and hear the vote and vote on it. Also, a lot of people don't know because the media hasn't said a word. Ted Cruz originally tried to block aid to Flint, where children were poisoned.
That's true.
So I'd like to know why Ted Cruz was okay, wanted money right away when there was a fertilizer plant explosion in Texas, tried to block aid for Hurricane Sandy relief, now children getting poisoned. So there were some more domestic issues.
Giant hypocrite. That's right.
So
look, to be fair to Blitzer, it's a limited period of time. The questions he went into, I thought he did a good job with. You're right. Of course, he could have brought up all that. On Flint, Cruz was originally the only senator blocking the aid. And the hypocrisy there is even more important than what he did. Because when it comes to Texas, he's like, gimme, gimme, gimme. When it comes to other states, he's like, that's when all of a sudden, oh, I don't want to spend money. I'm such a good conservative.
Right.
No, but when it comes to Texas, you want all the money in the world.
But it also shows the overall fraudulent nature of him, because he claims to be the anti-politician, and he's not part of the Washington cartel, but he does the same thing that they all do.
Yeah, and in fact, we were talking about this while we were doing the play-by-play. He's got that insincere squint down, right? But he doesn't realize that that's hurting him so much. Because as much of a liar as Donald Trump is, and he is, and they're both grotesque liars, Cruz and Trump, at least Donald sounds sincere, sounds like a human being as he's lying, right? Whereas Ted Cruz can't help but look and act insincere as he does his talking points, and hence is exposed more for being a liar, when in reality they both lie a tremendous amount.
Mm-hmm. Can I make a quick point about Kasich? Kasich doing that whole thing about, well, I don't want to say anything bad about Donald Trump. I don't want to say anything bad about Donald Trump. I wish one of the reporters or whoever was interviewing him, Anderson or whatever, I wish people in the media would hold the Republicans' feet to the fire. Can you tell me what the Southern strategy is and why 2 out of the last 3 Republican National Committee chairmen apologized to the American people for it? Why did they apologize for it, and what was it? And why do you pretend that somehow Trump is just some anomaly? He's got nothing to do with us. You guys have been running the Southern strategy since Richard Nixon, since we passed the civil rights legislation. You guys have been stoking this racism so you can win elections. It's been winning sometimes, it's been losing sometimes, and right now it's breaking up your party, but nobody ever brings that up, ever.
Well, one reason CNN and MSNBC might not is because they employed one of the guys who came up with the Southern strategy, Pat Buchanan. The reason Fox News would never bring it up, other than the fact that they're Republican propaganda, is that one of the guys who invented the Southern strategy is Roger Ailes, who runs Fox News Channel. So my guess is they're not going to bring that issue up. So here so far, fairly standard fare. Kasich with the, oh golly gee, I'm a nice guy, and I know policy routine, and it's working with his voters, but not the majority of Republican voters. And at the end there, I got a sense of, is he really going to win anything other than Ohio? And if he doesn't, well, is he going to go all the way here and just continue to get slaughtered throughout?
I think he's really gunning for Pennsylvania. He thinks he could do well there. I think he thinks he could do well in some of the remaining northeastern states.
But he should have won Michigan. Like if he doesn't win Michigan and he doesn't win Illinois, like what argument does he have for anything other than Ohio? We'll see. And we'll see if he drops out, if he doesn't get Pennsylvania, New York, one of those bigger states that are supposed to be more moderate on the Republican side. And for Cruz, you got the sense it's the same smarmy guy we've always known. The conservative diehards are going to go with Cruz. They can't see it. They can't see what the rest of the country can see, which is this guy is so insincere, such a liar, like so smarmy in every frickin' answer, and so extreme. I don't want peace. I'm going to hire all these crazy guys. Cuba, 50 years of failure in that strategy. I'm going to keep going in the same direction. A lie after lie about everything. Oh, the Iranians, Obama gave them hundreds of billions of dollars. No, that's not true. We took their money hostage. We gave it back to them when they ended their nuclear energy program. That's a great win for us. So I don't think he picks up any new voters. He just, he's going to hold on to his Mark Levin, supporters. And I say that as like the talk radio guys who are diehards, the used car dealership guy in Denver and all those guys.
But I can tell you what I see when I go to Donald Trump rallies, first Ted Cruz rallies, and maybe Jimmy would echo this because he's been to some Ted Cruz things. You can say what you want about Donald Trump, and I've got plenty to say. He doesn't believe 75% of what he's saying. That I can tell you. Ted Cruz believes what he's saying. And Ted Cruz hasn't gone as far as Donald Trump on the fascism and the racism, but Donald Trump has said, I make deals, I'm a little flexible. Ted Cruz has no desire to actually govern. It's about what he will stop and what he will reverse. So Ted Cruz is a scary guy too.
No flexibility whatsoever. You're absolutely right. I don't know to what degree he believes it because he's such a politician. He's so greasy. I don't trust him on a single word he says. But I do believe that he will be inflexible.
Yes.
Like whatever his position is, no matter how disastrous the consequences, no matter how many facts come against that position, he will not move it.
Did you, at a Ted Cruz events, I noticed he makes a big show of kissing his wife and over complimenting how great and what an angel she is and because that's really plays to those religious people, right? Like, look how much he loves his wife. Did you notice, like to me, I was like, I was hit by the spectacle of it, like how much of a play it was, how much of a performance it was. Were you struck by that, by Ted Cruz putting on a performance?
Yeah. First of all, his wife spoke for, by my count, 15 minutes.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think I told you in the past, he basically was saying, oh, gee golly, the only thing bad about her is she's got some weak eyesight.
Yeah.
And the evangelical voters in Iowa, some of these other states eat that stuff up because it's all about family values, the wife as the matriarch, those kinds of things.
Now, to be fair, he does really love her for taking care of the family with all the money she made from Goldman Sachs.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
He gets his health care through her now.
Right.
And he's got a sweet loan from Goldman Sachs.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
she's
did.
a good provider. Jeb Bush, interestingly enough, did not bring his Latino wife on very much on the campaign trail, did he?
No, I never saw her. She was there on the night that he suspended his campaign.
Finally,
Yeah.
she shows up.
He said he got to, he said I get to go sleep with her now. That was his big consolation prize. He literally said that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because I
Give me
get
a
to-
break.
I get to go lay about bed. He's the most awkward phrasing of everything. When I was born, I looked up and I saw the greatest woman. What the fuck? What are you saying? You saw your mother?
Which is interesting about Bush, because you know what? If he would have at some of the events I saw him at, he actually was doubling down on being pro-immigration reform, for comprehensive immigration reform. So you would think he would have said, you know what? I'm married to a Mexican American. Let me introduce you to my beautiful wife. Nuh-uh.
Even he was savvy enough to know, man, Republican voters will hate that. And my favorite awkward phrasing of Jeb Bush was, I'm so tough, I eat nails before breakfast.
Yes, before. Before breakfast.
And then he eats, cereal. He eats Cheerios afterwards.